The massive space station hung in the void like a metal city. Ships from dozens of worlds came and went from its docking base. Inside the main chamber, beings from across the galaxy gathered for another meeting of the Galactic Council. Admiral Chen Martinez walked through the tall doors with his small team of humans. The chamber was huge with seats arranged in circles that went up to the ceiling. Hundreds of different alien species sat in their special chairs talking in languages that sounded like music, grinding rocks or electronic beeps. At the center sat the Zephyrins. They looked like giant lizards that walked on two legs. Their scales were dark green and their eyes were yellow. They had ruled most of the galaxy for thousands of years. Everyone knew not to make them angry. The next item, announced the Zephyrian leader Lord Vex, is the human request for mining rights in Sector 779. A wave of sound filled the chamber. Some aliens laughed, others made clicking noises that meant the same thing. The Worthic ambassador, who looked like a walking crystal, made a sound like breaking glass. This was how his people laughed. Mining rights, said the Worthic ambassador. These humans can barely fly between stars without getting lost. Why would we give them anything valuable? Admiral Martinez stood up slowly. He was an older man with gray hair and calm eyes. He had fought in many wars on Earth, but he kept his voice quiet and respectful. Honorable council members, he said, we ask only for the right to mine asteroids in the outer rim. The area has little value to your great civilizations. We will pay the standard fees and follow all galactic laws. Lord Vex's yellow eyes stared down at the human. The outer rim? You mean the Kessler Belt? That worthless pile of rocks? Yes, honored Lord. We are a young species. We must start somewhere small. Kefrian delegate, who had 4 arms and blue skin, spoke up. What can humans possibly do with raw minerals? Your technology is centuries behind ours. You still use chemical rockets for some of your ships. More laughter filled the chamber. Admiral Martinez noticed that his 2 assistants, Captain Sarah Kim and Commander Mike Torres, kept their faces blank. They had been trained for this moment. We learn quickly, Admiral Martinez said simply. A new voice spoke from the upper levels. It belonged to the hegemony representative, a creature that looked like a floating jellyfish with metal parts. The humans have been members of this council for only 3 standard years. In that time they have asked for very little. Perhaps we should give them these worthless rocks. It will keep them busy while the real civilizations handle important matters. Lord Vex nodded slowly. Very well. But not the entire Kessler Belt, just the outer sections, the ones with no valuable materials. And you will pay triple the normal mining fees. That seems fair, Admiral Martinez said. Without hesitation, the Worthic ambassador made his glass-breaking laugh. Again, fair. Humans clearly do not understand economics. Those rocks are worth less than the fuel it will take to reach them, perhaps. You are right, Admiral Martinez agreed. We are still learning. The vote was quick. Every species voted to give humans the worthless part of the Kessler Belt. Some delegates had already stopped paying attention and were looking at their personal devices as the humans prepared to leave. Lord Vex called out, Admiral Martinez, A word of advice from an elder species. Do not waste too much time on this mining project. There are more profitable ways to serve the galaxy. We always need species to transport waste materials or clean our ships. Thank you for the guidance, Lord Vex, Admiral Martinez replied with a slight bow. The three humans walked out of the great chamber. Behind them, conversations continued about important matters. A war between two minor species in the far sectors. New trade agreements between the major powers. Things that actually mattered. In the corridor outside, Captain Kim walked close to her admiral. Sir, they have no idea, do they? Admiral Martinez kept walking, but she saw a small smile cross his weathered face. No, Captain, they do not, Commander. Torres looked around to make sure no aliens were listening. How long until we begin Phase 2, the construction? Ships are already moving, Admiral Martinez said quietly. By the time we reach the Kessler Belt, everything will be ready. They reached their small transport ship. Compared to the massive vessels of other species, it looked tiny and simple. The Zephyrian guards at the docking bay barely looked at them as they passed. Once inside their ship, the three humans sat in the small command center. Admiral Martinez activated a secure communication channel. Home base, this is Admiral Martinez. The Council has approved our request. Voice came back through the speakers. Understood, Admiral. The fleet stands ready, Captain Kim brought up a star map on her screen. The Kessler Belt was marked in red. To most species, it looked like empty space with some floating rocks. But hidden in those rocks, humanity had been working for 2 years. Sir, she said, intelligence reports that the Zephyrians are planning something big. They've been moving fleets toward the inner systems. Admiral Martinez studied the map. Let them move their fleets. When they are ready to show their strength, we will show them ours. Commander Torres pulled up another screen showing ship designs. To an alien observer, they would look like simple human vessels. But hidden in the data were specifications that would surprise the galaxy. The Indomitable is ready for her first real test, he said. Admiral Martinez nodded. She has waited long enough. We all have. Their small transport ship left the space station and headed toward human space. Behind them, the Galactic Council continued their meeting. They discussed trade routes and border disputes. They made plans for the future. They assumed humans would remain a minor, harmless species forever. None of them noticed that several small objects had been placed on their space station during the humans' visit. Objects that looked like standard communication devices, but were actually something much more advanced. The galaxy had made its choice. They saw humans as weak, primitive, and useful only for simple labor. Admiral Martinez was perfectly happy to let them keep thinking that way, for now, as their ship entered hyperspace, Admiral Martinez looked out at the stars. Soon, very soon, those same stars would witness something that no species in the galaxy expected. The time for hiding was almost over. 6 months had passed since the Galactic Council gave humans the right to mine in the Kessler Belt. To any observer watching from a distance, it looked like exactly what everyone expected. Small human ships moved slowly between asteroids, cutting out chunks of rock and metal. Their operations seemed basic and inefficient compared to the great mining fleets of other species. What those distant observers could not see, were the massive chambers carved deep, inside the largest asteroids, hidden. Construction bays stretched for kilometers underground, filled with the sound of welding torches and assembly. Machines working around the clock. Admiral Martinez stood on the observation deck of what looked like a simple mining station. Through the transparent metal windows, he could see human workers in spacesuits, floating between the rocks. But this was only the surface level of their operation. Admiral called Chief Engineer Lisa Park from across the control room. The Indomitable is ready for her final systems test. Martinez turned toward the main viewing screen as it activated. The image showed what appeared to be the inside of an asteroid, but the walls had been carved away to create a space large enough for the largest ship humanity had ever built. The Indomitable was 3 km long and 1 km wide. Her hull was matte black, designed to absorb sensor scans rather than reflect them. Along her sides were weapon ports that could extend when needed but remained hidden when closed. She looked nothing like the sleek ships other species preferred. Instead, she was built for pure function. All systems show green, reported Commander Torres from his station. Fusion reactors are running at optimal levels. Weapon systems are charged and ready. Stealth field generators are online. Captain Kim studied a different screen, showing the locations of other human vessels throughout the asteroid field. Sir, we now have 47 ships operational, and another 23 in final construction. Each asteroid base can support a full battle group. Admiral Martinez nodded slowly. For 2 years, humanity had been playing a careful game. While the galaxy saw them as harmless miners, they had been building the most advanced military force in known space. The secret was not just superior technology, though human engineers had made remarkable advances. The real advantage was that humans thought differently than other species. The Zephyrians built huge fleets meant to intimidate enemies into surrender. The Vorthik created weapons of incredible power but limited flexibility. The Caphrians designed ships that were beautiful works of art but followed predictable tactics. Humans built ships that can adapt. They studied every battle the galaxy had ever fought and learned from both victories and defeats. Most importantly, they prepared for enemies who would underestimate them, right up until the moment of attack. Admiral, said Dr. Rachel Webb, the chief scientist of the project, the analysis of alien technologies is complete. We now understand the weaknesses in every major species' defensive systems. She brought up a holographic display showing different alien ship designs. Red marks indicated structural weak points, power distribution flaws, and gaps in their shielding systems. The Zephyrians rely too heavily on their front-facing shields, she explained. If you can get behind them or attack from multiple angles, their ships become vulnerable. The Vorthik have incredibly powerful weapons, but they overheat quickly, force them into sustained combat, and they have to retreat. Admiral Martinez studied the data carefully, and their military doctrines predictable, answered Commander Torres. The Zephyrians always attack in formation, same patterns they have used for centuries. The Vorthik prefers single powerful strikes. The Caphrians try to outmaneuver their enemies but always retreat if they take heavy damage. Captain Kim smiled. None of them expect an enemy to sacrifice ships to achieve a larger goal. They all fight to preserve their forces, rather than win decisively. This was another human advantage. While other species saw their ships and crews as valuable resources to be protected, humans understood that sometimes victory required sacrifice. It was a cold calculation, but it gave them tactical options their enemies would never consider. "Sir," called the communications officer, "we are receiving a priority message from Earth Command." Admiral Martinez activated his personal communicator. The message was brief but important. Zephyrian fleets were moving toward human space. Intelligence suggested they were planning to demand Earth's surrender as a show of strength to the galaxy. How long until they reach the solar system? Martinez asked. Based on their current speed, approximately 3 weeks, Torres replied. After checking his calculations, Martinez looked around the control room at his officers. These were the best and brightest humanity had to offer. Many had given up promising careers on Earth to work in secret on this project. They all understood what was at stake. "Signal all bases," he ordered. "Begin final preparations. I want every ship ready for combat. Operations within 72 hours. Throughout the asteroid field, hidden bases came alive with activity. Ships that had been disguised as mining equipment revealed their true nature. Weapon systems were brought online. Crews that had been pretending to be simple miners took their positions as the most advanced military force in the galaxy. The human fleet was not just large, it was revolutionary. Each ship was equipped with artificial intelligence systems that could learn and adapt during combat. Their weapons used principles that alien scientists had dismissed as impossible. Their shields could reconfigure themselves to counter specific types of attacks. Most importantly, the human fleet was designed to work together. While other species built individual ships that fought alone or in simple formations, humanity had created a network of vessels that shared information instantly and could coordinate attacks with perfect timing. Admiral Martinez walked to the main command center deep inside the asteroid base. Here, holographic displays showed the positions of every human ship, not just in the Kessler Belt but throughout known space. For months, small human vessels had been positioning themselves near major alien worlds and military bases, disguised as traders or explorers. "Admiral," said Captain Kim quietly, "are we really ready for this? Once we reveal our true strength, there is no going back." Martinez stared at the display showing the approaching Zephyrian fleet. 3 battle groups, each larger than anything humanity was supposed to possess. The aliens were so confident of victory that they had not even bothered to send scouts ahead. "Captain," he said finally, "we have been ready since the day they laughed at us in that council chamber. The question is not whether we can win. The question is whether the galaxy is ready to learn that they have been wrong about us all along." Outside the asteroid base, human ships began to move into position. Soon, the galaxy would discover that the harmless miners they had been ignoring were actually the most dangerous military force in known space. The trap was set. Now they just had to wait for the Zephyrians to spring it. Lord Skerk stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Dominator, as it led 3 full Zephyrian battle fleets toward the solar system. Around him, his officers moved with the confidence of a species that had never known defeat. The massive ship's hull gleamed with polished metal, and its weapons bristled with enough firepower to destroy entire worlds. "My lord," reported his tactical officer, "we will reach the human home system in 6 hours. Our scouts report minimal military presence, a few patrol ships and some orbital defense platforms." Skerk showed his teeth in what humans would recognize as a cruel smile. Exactly as expected. These mammals have no concept of real military power. The Zephyrian fleet was truly impressive. 96 warships arranged in perfect formation, their hulls decorated with the symbols of 1,000 victories. Each ship was at least twice the size of the largest human vessel ever seen by alien eyes. "Open a channel to the human home world," Skerks commanded. "Let them hear the terms of their surrender." On Earth, the message was received by Admiral Martinez, who was now aboard a command ship hidden behind one of Jupiter's moons. He listened to Skerks's demands with no expression on his weathered face. "People of Earth," the alien lord's voice boomed through the speakers, "you will surrender your world and submit to Zephyrian rule. You have 1 hour to respond, or we will demonstrate why resistance is futile." Admiral Martinez activated his reply channel. "Lord Skerks, this is Admiral Martinez of the Earth Defense Force. We accept your offer to discuss terms. Will you meet us at the edge of our system for negotiations?" Skerks laughed, a sound like grinding stone. "Negotiations? You misunderstand, human. This is not a request. But yes, I will meet you. It will amuse me to see your pathetic fleet surrender in person." The communication ended and Skerks ordered his fleet to the coordinates Martinez had provided. It was near Neptune, far from any human settlements. He assumed the humans wanted to surrender away from their homeworld to avoid embarrassing themselves in front of their own people. "My lord," said his sensor officer, "I am detecting approximately 12 human ships at the meeting point. They appear to be mining vessels and light escorts." "Only 12 ships?" Skerks was genuinely surprised. "I expected more from a species entire military. Perhaps they are even weaker than we thought." What Skerks did not know was that human sensor technology had advanced far beyond what any alien species believed possible. While his ship saw 12 vessels, there were actually hundreds hidden throughout the outer solar system. Admiral Martinez stood in the command center of the Indomitable, watching as the Zephyrian fleet approached. The massive alien ships moved in their traditional formation, exactly as human intelligence had predicted. "All ships report ready," Admiral announced. "Captain Kim, stealth fields are holding. They have no idea we are here." Throughout the solar system, human vessels that had been disguised as asteroids, space debris, and mining equipment began to power up their weapon systems. The trap that had taken years to prepare was about to be sprung. "Sir," called Commander Torres, "the Zephyrian fleet is taking position. They are maintaining standard battle formation." Admiral Martinez studied the tactical display. The alien ships were arranged exactly as their doctrine demanded, with the largest vessels in the center and smaller ships protecting the flanks. It was the same formation they had used for centuries, and it had never failed. Them. Today would be different. Signal all units, Martinez ordered. Execute Operation Revelation. Across the solar system, space itself seemed to come alive. What the Zephyrians had mistaken for empty voids suddenly filled with human warships. They appeared from behind asteroids, emerged from the shadows of planets and moons, and materialized as their stealth fields deactivated. On the bridge of the Dominator, alarms began screaming. "My lord!" shouted the sensor officer, his voice filled with panic. "I am reading massive energy signatures throughout the system. Hundreds of ships are decloaking around us." Scarix stared at his displays in disbelief. Where moments before his sensors had shown empty space, now they detected human vessels everywhere. Ships that dwarfed his own flagship hung in space like sleeping giants awakening. "Impossible," he whispered. "Where did they come from?" The answer came from Admiral Martinez himself, his voice broadcasting on all frequencies. "Lord Scarix, you asked to see our fleet. Allow me to present the true strength of humanity." The human ships were unlike anything in the Galactic Fleet databases. Their hulls were dark and angular, covered with weapon systems that radiated energy signatures beyond anything the Zephyrians had ever encountered. The largest ship, the Indomitable, was 3 times the size of Scarix's flagship. "My lord," his tactical officer reported. With a trembling voice, "I count over 300 human vessels. Many of them are larger than our dreadnoughts. And sir, their weapon systems are charging." Scarix felt something he had never experienced before in his long military career. Fear. How is this possible? Our intelligence said they had barely 50 ships in their entire fleet. Admiral Martinez's voice came through the speakers again. "Your intelligence was correct, Lord Scarix. That was our merchant fleet. This is our military. On human ships throughout the system. Weapon systems that incorporated technology beyond galactic understanding. Prepared to fire. Humanity had not simply built larger guns. They had revolutionized the science of warfare itself." "Sir," Captain Kim reported quietly to Admiral Martinez, "all ships are in position. We have them completely surrounded." Zephyrian fleet, which had seemed so powerful when it entered the system, now looked like children's toys surrounded by giants. Every human ship was larger, better armed, and positioned for maximum tactical advantage. "Lord Scarix," Admiral Martinez broadcast, "you came here to demand our surrender. Instead, I offer you a choice. You can surrender your fleet peacefully, or you can test your weapons against ours. I should warn you that our defensive systems have been specifically designed to counter Zephyrian technology." On the Dominator's bridge, panic voices filled the air as officers tried to understand what they were seeing. Their most advanced sensors could barely analyze the human ship's capabilities. "My lord," whispered his science officer, "their power output readings are impossible. Each of their ships generates more energy than our entire fleet combined." Scarix's hands gripped the arms of his command chair. Everything he had believed about human capabilities had been wrong. Completely, catastrophically wrong. "Open fire." He roared, desperation overcoming. Tactical thinking. All ships opened fire. The Zephyrian fleet unleashed everything. It had plasma cannons that could melt mountains, fired in unison, energy beams that had destroyed countless worlds land out toward the human ships. And accomplished nothing. The human vessels absorbed the attacks without even slowing down. Their shields, based on principles that Zephyrian science considered theoretical impossibilities, turned away weapons that should have vaporized them instantly. Now, Admiral, Martinez said quietly, show them what human engineering can accomplish. The response from the human fleet was swift and devastating. Weapons that had been designed specifically to counter every known form of alien defense carved through Zephyrian shields like they were made of paper. In less than 60 seconds, half of Scarix's fleet was either destroyed or disabled. Cease fire, Admiral Martinez commanded, his voice carrying clearly through space. Lord Scarix, do you wish to continue this demonstration? On the bridge of the Dominator, Scarix stared at the wreckage of his once mighty fleet. Ships that had been the pride of the Zephyrian military floated dead in space, their hulls split open by weapons beyond his understanding. We surrender, he managed to whisper. The galaxy was about to learn that humanity was far more than anyone had ever imagined. News of the Zephyrian fleet's destruction spread across the galaxy like wildfire. Every major news network broadcast the same impossible story. The humans, those primitive mammals from the Outer Rim, had completely destroyed 3 Zephyrian battle groups in less than 1 hour. In the crystal palaces of the Vorthic hegemony, emergency overlord Zentrix watched the recordings with disbelief. The Vorthic considered themselves the galaxy's supreme military technicians. Their weapons could crack planets in half. Their ships were faster and more advanced than anything else in known space. This must be some kind of trick, Zentrix declared to his war council. No species develops this kind of military power without anyone noticing. The humans must have stolen our technology. High engineer Pylox, whose crystalline body glowed with nervous energy, studied the battle recordings more carefully. Overlord, I have analyzed their weapon signatures. These are not stolen technologies. They are using principles our scientists believed were impossible. Zentrix's form flared brighter with anger. Impossible. We are the Vorthic. We invented energy weapons while these mammals were still living in caves. Nevertheless, Pylox continued quietly, their defensive systems absorbed our allies' plasma cannons with 0 damage. Their weapons cut through Zephyrian shields as if they did not exist. And their ships. He paused, checking his data again. Their largest vessel generates more power than an entire Vorthic battle station. Zentrix made a sound like breaking crystal. This was how his people expressed extreme displeasure. Assemble the 7th Fleet, we will show these humans what real military power looks like. The Zephyrians were always more show than substance anyway. Across the galaxy, similar conversations were taking place. The Caphrian Assembly debated whether the recordings were genuine. The Hegemony Council demanded explanations from their intelligence services. Dozens of smaller species wondered if The galactic balance of power had just shifted forever. But it was the Vorthik who acted first. Within days, their 7th fleet was moving toward human space. 150 ships equipped with the most advanced weapons in the galaxy. If the Zephyrians had failed due to their outdated tactics, the Vorthik would succeed through superior technology. Admiral Martinez received word of the approaching Vorthak fleet while aboard the Indomitable. He stood in the ship's main strategy room with his senior officers, studying holographic displays of the enemy formation. They are moving faster than the Zephyrians did, reported Captain Kim. Their ships can achieve higher speeds. In hyperspace, they will reach our outer defensive perimeter in 4 days. Commander Torres brought up detailed scans of Vorthak ship designs. Their vessels are smaller than Zephyrian ships but much more advanced. Crystalline matrix armor, quantum phase weapons, and neural link targeting systems. Admiral Martinez nodded slowly. He had expected this. After demonstrating their power against the Zephyrians, other species would want to test human capabilities. The Vorthak were actually the logical choice to try next. Dr. Webb, he said to the chief scientist, what is your analysis of Vorthak technology? Dr. Rachel Webb activated her own display showing detailed breakdowns of Vorthak weapons and defenses. Their quantum phase weapons can theoretically pass through most forms of matter, including our standard armor. Their neural link systems allow near instantaneous coordination between ships. She paused, then smiled. However, they have 2 critical weaknesses. First, their quantum weapons require enormous amounts of power and generate massive heat. Second, their neural links can be disrupted by specific electromagnetic frequencies. Admiral Martinez studied the data. Human intelligence had been watching and learning from every galactic species for years. While the aliens saw humans as primitive newcomers, humanity had been quietly analyzing their technologies and tactics. Recommendations. Yes, thought Captain Kim, stepped forward. We use a different strategy than we did against the Zephyrians. Instead of overwhelming force, we demonstrate adaptability. Show them that their advanced technology means nothing against an enemy that can evolve during combat. Agreed, said Commander Torres. We let them think they have found our weakness, then reveal that we anticipated their tactics. Admiral Martinez made his decision. Signal the outer defense stations. When the Vorthak arrive, we engage them with standard defensive measures. Let them believe their technology gives them an advantage. 4 days later, the Vorthak 7th fleet emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the solar system. Emergency Overlord Zentric commanded the fleet from his flagship, the Crystal Blade, a ship that looked like a massive piece of living crystal shaped into a weapon. Humans of Earth, Zentric broadcast on all frequencies, you will surrender immediately. Your tricks worked against the primitive Zephyrians, but Vorthak technology is supreme. Resistance is futile. The response came from Admiral Martinez, speaking from what appeared to be a much smaller human command ship. Emergency Overlord Zentric, we respectfully decline your offer. If you wish to test your technology against ours, we are prepared to defend ourselves. Zentric made his breaking crystal laugh. Defend yourselves. You cannot even see our ships properly. With your inferior senses. He was partially correct. The Vorthak fleet was using advanced stealth technology that made them difficult to target. But what Zentric did not know was that human sensors worked on completely different principles than any galactic technology. All ships Zentric commanded engage the humans, show them the power of crystalline engineering. The Vorthak ships opened fire with their quantum phase weapons, beams of energy that could pass through solid matter launched toward the human defensive positions. For a moment, it seemed like the alien technology was working. The quantum beams passed right through human armor plating. Zentric felt a moment of satisfaction. As expected, their crude metal ships cannot stand against his words stopped as he realized the human ships were still functioning perfectly. The quantum weapons had passed through their hulls but had not caused any damage at all. Impossible, he roared. Our weapons are designed to disrupt matter at the quantum level. On the Indomitable, Dr. Webb was monitoring the alien attack with professional interest. Admiral, their quantum phase weapons are working exactly as designed. They are passing through our ships and disrupting quantum-level bonds in any matter they encounter. Then why are we not being destroyed? Asked Captain Kim. Dr. Webb smiled. Because our ships are not made of matter as they understand it. Our hulls use quantum-stabilized materials that exist in a different phase state. Their weapons literally cannot affect us. Admiral Martinez nodded approvingly. This was another advantage of human engineering. While other species improved existing technologies, humans invented completely new approaches to old problems. All ships he commanded began counterattack, target their power systems. The human response was precise and devastating. Instead of trying to overwhelm Vorthak defenses, human weapons targeted the specific components that powered their advanced systems. Crystalline power matrices shattered under focused electromagnetic pulses. Neural link networks collapsed as human electronic warfare systems introduced chaos into their quantum communications. Within minutes, the most advanced fleet in the galaxy was floating helplessly in space, their weapons offline and their coordination systems destroyed. But Admiral Martinez was not finished with his demonstration. Emergency Overlord Zentric, he broadcast. Your technology is indeed impressive. However, we have been studying your capabilities for some time. Allow us to show you what we learned. Human ships began to change before the aliens' eyes. Hull sections reconfigured themselves, revealing weapon systems that had been hidden moments before. More shocking still, the human vessels began using modified versions of Vorthak technology that improved beyond anything the original designers had imagined. How? Zentric whispered, staring at his screens. How do you have our quantum phase weapons? Admiral Martinez's voice carried a hint of amusement. We have been observing your people for years, Emergency Overlord. Every time you tested your weapons, we were watching and learning. The difference is that we do not simply copy what we see. We improve it. The demonstration continued for another hour. Human ships displayed technologies from dozens of galactic civilizations, but each had been enhanced beyond its original capabilities. It became clear that humanity had not just built a powerful fleet. They had created a military force that could adapt to and counter any alien technology. Finally, Admiral Martinez offered the same terms he had given the Zephyrians: surrender or face complete destruction. Zentrek, his crystalline form dim with defeat, accepted the surrender. As his fleet powered down their weapons, he realized that the galaxy had made a terrible mistake in underestimating humanity. Across known space, the news spread even faster than before. First the Zephyrians, now the Vorthak, two of the galaxy's most powerful military forces, had been defeated by humans with almost casual ease. The question on everyone's mind was the same. If the humans could do this to the Zephyrians and the Vorthak, what could they do to everyone else? The great chamber of the Galactic Council had never been so quiet. Every seat was filled, but no one spoke above a whisper. The usual sounds of different species, talking, laughing, or conducting side business, had completely disappeared. Admiral Chin Martinez walked through the tall doors again, but this time everything was different. The last time he had been here, aliens had laughed at humanity's simple request for mining rights. Now every eye in the chamber watched him with something that looked very much like fear. The human delegation was larger this time. Captain Kim and Commander Torres walked beside him, along with Dr. Webb and several other officers. They moved with quiet confidence, their uniforms simple but somehow more impressive than the elaborate outfits worn by alien dignitaries. Lord Vex, the Zephyrian leader, sat in his usual place at the center of the chamber, but his proud posture was gone. His yellow eyes, which had once stared down at humans with contempt, now avoided looking directly at Admiral Martinez. The defeat of his fleets had shaken the entire Zephyrian Empire. Emergency. Overlord Zentrek was also present, his crystalline form dim and flickering. The Vorthak had always believed their technology made them superior to all other species. The destruction of their seventh fleet had forced them to accept a painful truth. They were not the most advanced civilization in the galaxy anymore. Honored members of the Galactic Council, Admiral Martinez began, his voice carrying easily through the vast chamber. I come before you today not as a supplicant, but as the representative of a species that has proven its place among the stars. A nervous ripple passed through the assembled delegates. Many were still trying to understand how they had been so wrong about human capabilities. Intelligence reports were being rewritten across the galaxy as species tried to figure out how humanity had hidden such massive military power. You may wonder, Martinez continued, how we accomplished what we have accomplished. The answer is simple. While you saw us as primitive and harmless, we were learning. Every diplomatic meeting, every trade negotiation, every casual conversation taught us something about your technologies, your tactics, your weaknesses. He activated a holographic display that filled the center of the chamber. It showed star charts marking the locations of human vessels throughout galactic space. There were thousands of them positioned near every major world and military installation. For 3 years you have seen our merchant ships, our exploration vessels, our mining equipment. What you did not realize is that every One of these ships was also gathering intelligence. We have been watching you, studying you, preparing for the day when we would reveal our true nature. The chamber erupted in shocked conversations. Species that had welcomed human traders suddenly realized they had been allowing military scouts into their most secure systems. The implications were staggering. Lord Vex found his voice, though it shook slightly. Admiral Martinez, what do you want? Name your price. Territory. Resources. We can negotiate. Martinez shook his head slowly. We want what we have always wanted. Lord Vex, respect a fair place in this galaxy. The right to exist without fear that some larger power will decide we are inconvenient. The Xylosian delegate, her forearms trembling, spoke up. But surely you understand our concern. Your military capabilities exceed anything we thought possible. How do we know you will not use this power to conquer us all? It was a fair question, and Martinez had expected it. He gestured to Dr. Webb, who activated another holographic display. This one showed detailed recordings from the battles with the Zephyrian and Vordek fleets. As you can see, Dr. Webb explained, in both engagements, human forces demonstrated restraint. We could have completely destroyed both fleets but chose instead to disable them. We offered surrender terms and honored them when they were accepted. We could have pursued retreating ships, but we did not. She paused, making sure everyone in the chamber understood. If humanity wanted to conquer the galaxy, we would have begun by now. The fact that we are here talking, instead of demanding your unconditional surrender, should tell you something about our intentions. Admiral Martinez stepped forward again. We prefer cooperation to conquest, trade to tribute, alliance to domination. But make no mistake, we are prepared to defend ourselves and our interests against anyone who threatens us. The holographic display changed again, showing the true scope of the human fleet. Not just the ships that had engaged alien forces, but the entire armada that had been hidden throughout space. The numbers were overwhelming. Humanity had built a military force that could challenge the combined might of every other species in the galaxy. How? Whispered the hegemony representative, its jellyfish-like form pulsing with agitation. How did you build all this without anyone knowing? Martinez allowed himself a small smile. The same way we did everything else. Quietly, patiently, and without drawing attention to ourselves. While your species competed with each other for prestige and power, we focused on results. Commander Torres stepped forward to explain further. Every asteroid we mined provided raw materials for ship construction. Every trade agreement gave us access to advanced technologies we could study and improve. Every diplomatic slight reminded us that we needed to be strong enough to defend ourselves. The chamber fell silent again as the implications sank in. The aliens had not just underestimated human military power. They had completely failed to understand human psychology, where other species would have demanded respect through threats and bluster. Humans had simply prepared to earn it through capability. Captain Kim activated one final display, showing current ship positions throughout the galaxy. Human vessels were everywhere, positioned to either defend humanity's interests or project power anywhere in known space. This brings us to the present moment. Admiral Martinez said, humanity requests full membership in the Galactic Council with all the rights and responsibilities that entails. We ask for fair representation in galactic affairs and respect for our territorial claims. He paused, letting his words sink in before continuing. In return, we offer our protection to any species that wishes to live in peace, our technology to solve problems that affect us all, our strength to maintain stability in the galaxy. The vote was inevitable. Species after species announced their support for humanity's membership, some because they genuinely welcomed human participation in galactic affairs, others because they were terrified of what might happen if they refused. When the final count was announced, it was unanimous. Humanity was now a full member of the Galactic Council, with all the authority and influence that came with such status. But Admiral Martinez was not finished. There is one more thing, he said as the delegates prepared to adjourn. For too long, this galaxy has been ruled by fear. Powerful species intimidating weaker ones. Military threats used to settle diplomatic disputes. This ends now. He gestured to the holographic displays, still showing human fleet positions. Any species that uses force to threaten another will find themselves dealing with humanity. We will not tolerate bullying, conquest, or the abuse of smaller civilizations. The message was clear. Humanity had not gained power just to join the existing order. They intended to change it. As the delegates filed out of the chamber, conversations buzzed with excitement and worry. The galaxy had gained a new major power, but also a new sheriff. How this would change the balance of politics, trade, and military affairs remained to be seen. Admiral Martinez remained in the chamber after most aliens had left, standing with his officers and looking up at the stars visible through the transparent dome overhead. Sir, Captain Kim asked quietly, do you think they will accept a new reality peacefully? Martinez was silent for a long moment, watching ships from dozens of worlds depart from the station. Some will, others will need more convincing, but they will all learn the same lesson eventually. Which is? Commander Torres asked. Admiral Martinez smiled, the same expression he had worn years before when the Council had first dismissed humanity as harmless primitives. Never underestimate the species that chooses to ask nicely first, because if we have to ask a second time, we might not be quite so polite about it. Outside the station, human ships maintained their positions throughout the galaxy. They were no longer hiding in asteroid fields or disguised as mining equipment. They flew openly now, their dark holes and advanced weapon systems visible to anyone who cared to look. The galaxy had learned that humanity was far more dangerous than anyone had imagined, but they had also learned that humans were willing to use their power responsibly, to protect rather than conquer, and to lead by example rather than through fear. It was the beginning of a new age among the stars, and humanity intended to make sure it was a better one than what had come before.